Joining us on stage, Writer CEO May Habib and Snorkel CEO Alex Ratner with Cerebral Valley co-host Max Child.
Goodbye.
Silicon Valley.
All right, May, Alex, really excited to have you guys here. Just to kick it off, would love you to talk through your companies, what you're working on. So start with May.
Thanks, Max. Hi, everybody. I'm May from Writer. We are a full-stack generative AI platform, which means we combine large language models, our own, with all of the tools and software that companies need to build really good internal generative AI applications. We focus on the enterprise. Customers include folks like Accenture and United Healthcare, Spotify, and we're based here in San Francisco.
Awesome, thank you. And Alex?
Awesome. Representing Snorkel today. Wrong sweatshirt, right hat. And we're an AI data development platform. So if you think about all of the data development, meaning labeling and sampling and filtering and augmenting and cleaning of the data that goes into either train models or fine-tune them, or even prompt them, really all the data that goes in to customize them for your data, your specific use cases and objectives up to high quality, that's where we come in. And we try to make that programmatic like software development. So bigger picture background, we've been working on this for almost 10 years now. So starting at Stanford, one of my co-founders there, University of Washington, where I was at, and still on affiliate status, but not actively teaching. And the bigger idea was all the role of data and what does AI look like when the tinkering with the models and the algorithms and treating data like an upstream janitorial task that you like download from Kaggle or ImageNet kind of flips on its head and becomes more the models and the algorithms commoditized and the data development becomes the interface. So we think LLMs are taking us to that endpoint even faster, and we're excited to help as kind of help enterprises do that customization as we do the company.
So you guys are, I feel like, two of the world's leading experts in the adoption of AI tools within the enterprise, not just large language models, but also sounds like you have some natural language processing background at Writer as well. I'm interested, just to start with you, May, like, where do you feel like there's really strong product market fit between the AI tools that we have today and what people are doing with them inside large companies? Where do you think like the best use cases are?
Yeah, I've never been asked the question that way, and so this thought that I just had, I've never had before. But I do think that actually, like, a blank box for people to write things that an LLM can help them with doesn't actually have product market fit in the enterprise.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know if folks caught it, but a few weeks ago, Sequoia published the Dow-to-Mao ratio of ChatGPT, and it's 14%. And in the enterprise, my guess is it's half of that. And Copilot, I think, outside of like summarize this email or write this email, from an accuracy perspective, isn't what CIOs are really thinking they're going to get when they have put it to use. So, all to say, like, we're really just at the beginning. It has a lot of promise for sure, but the interfaces and the UX is still very much, I think, up for grabs. Our approach is the over-chattification of things is a big part of the user adoption problem. So what we do and what we mean
over-chattification.
Over-chattification.
Like
over-chattification.
Sorry.
All right. Some new coinages here.
Yeah.
All right.
So for us, the pillars of building really good solutions that actually get adopted are, yes, a great LLM. We build our own, which means customers can host them, which means they are comfortable doing part two, which is connecting it to their data. And we have, from the beginning, integrated the RAG solution, our RAG solution with the LLM, which, by abstracting away the RAG, OpenAI basically adopted last week as well. And then the third part is the AI guardrails. So all of the post-processing that enterprises really need to manage accuracy and manage brand and manage compliance, we build that in as literally like check marks, right? And so I think there is a really long last mile to building applications that actually get adoption. And to your question of, where is their product market fit? I do think there's a ton of space where there's really strong adoption for us. RFP applications, sales enablement digital assistants, knowledge base meets like multiple knowledge bases, meet various instructions for agent assist apps. So like across the various lines of business, there are definitely areas where folks really are hungry for generative AI applications, but they got to be built right. You know, just putting like an empty chat box in front of people isn't going to work.
So you're alluding to this idea that the usage of LLMs, including ChatGPT, you know, as a consumer use case, but also within the enterprise, is less than a lot of people would predict or would expect. You know, when you guys look at your metrics, what do you see like blowing up off the charts? What are you like, oh my gosh, like amazingly, that is like a huge use case for, you know, this generation of AI tools within the enterprise? Like what is working?
So we look at the adoption of what we call in our product custom apps, and then Ask Writer. And Ask Writer is like the ability to upload a file or put in a URL. It could be an internal like link to Confluence, for example, or you know something that is only behind your own firewall. It could be anything, but we like to see 50% DAU to MAU on just Ask Writer. So like just
do you see that? Yeah.
We do, yeah.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, that is the North Star. But it means like we were at Intuit last week doing a workshop for 100 people. We are going to Minneapolis in 2 weeks to do a big office hours for United Healthcare. We were at CSAA in Arizona today. So like, and these are tech-leaning people. These are the people who've like put up their hand and said, I want to learn about AI. Like we are still so far away from like the median person inside of the enterprise leaning into this technology and using it every day.
Got it. Yeah, Alex, I mean, same question basically. What are you guys seeing blowing up?
Yeah, I mean, well, plus one, a lot of stuff you said. I haven't heard the over-chattification, but I love that one because, and maybe I'll go to the first point first, which is,
yeah,
like, what are some of the heuristics? Rather than naming specific use cases, we're a horizontal dev platform. So we serve data science teams when they're developing the models. So we don't actually, you know, serve the models and measure the interactivity metrics, and we're very horizontal. So hard to pick a single use case. But like in terms of heuristics, I mean, one thing I'd point to is not just chatbots. And that's a big thing people are realizing. It sounds like you're doing a similar a motion of traipsing around the company, cleaning up after innovation lab chatbot experiments gone wrong or gone nowhere, and trying to get that actually connected to real business value. So I think one thing we're really seeing come around is not just chatbots. When you think about the Gen AI phrase, sometimes people use it synonymously with generative use cases, so like long-form open-ended or open schema responses, like a chatbot or a copilot. A lot of people are really just using it to mean has an LLM or a foundation model, we like that term, on the Stanford Snorkel side in it. And I think that latter one is where we're going to see a lot of enterprise value. And that's going to be using LLMs, foundation models, to just accelerate more humdrum use cases that are not a semi-sentient chatbot that can make up love sonnets and code and do everything. So that trend of generalist to specialist, that's a big thing we're seeing, right? There are going to be some use cases in the enterprise where you really want a big generalist. Most of them are specialists that are tuned on enterprise data and are around very measurable things. Because when you can measure something and whether it's working, that's when you can actually ship it, at least at the kind of large enterprises we work with in critical settings. So I think that not just chat, measurability are two of the big ones. And then customization towards, like most enterprises for their high value tasks, they don't want even a really smart college student. They want an underwriter or a doctor or a lawyer or a network technician who's been onboarded. And that's that kind of specialization trend again. So yeah, not just chatbots, a lot of things that are more humdrum than chatbots, but closer to value, measurability and specialization.
Yeah, and I mean, you sort of alluded to this, but both of you, doing my research, cruising around your websites, talking to you beforehand, it seems like you're both really focused on, to a large degree, making sure that hallucinations are less of a problem in these enterprise use cases, right? And I know hallucinations obviously are very focused on the chat experience, but on the Writer website, you guys talk a lot about the guardrails you put in place for the output of your models. And I know a lot of what Snorkel works on is sort of cleaning data and making sure that things are really tip-top so that people can actually use them without getting mistakes. I guess I'm wondering, like, what are you guys seeing? How much of a problem is this in an enterprise use case? Are people holding you to account if 1 out of 1,000 things they use your products for goes awry? Like, what is your perspective from the business side of things on, some of the issues people are dealing with the modern generation of tools?
Yeah, I'm happy to start quickly. So first of all, I'll note that, we sell to data scientists, and usually data scientists are called in when the problem is a little bit harder. So there are some use cases where really, a GPT-4, 5, 6, whatever else comes out can work out of the box. There are a lot of settings where it can't. So I'll give an example. Large top 10 US bank that is a customer of ours is using Snorkel to help label and develop and curate the data to fine-tune a Q&A system over these multi-100-page legal documents. Right now, I think so it's just GPT-4 plus RAG, kind of basic template out of the box, gets about 65% accuracy when it doesn't abstain. So it's really about like 45% kind of F1 or accuracy, just call it as a proxy. So you have a lot of these settings when think about two main axes. One is, are you dealing with internet data where these models have been trained on, or are you dealing with more complex, kind of bespoke, in the bowels of the enterprise data? This is kind of transfer learning 101. More likely to require more tuning if you're on bespoke data. And second, does this need to be really accurate? Is this like a kind of explore and figure out co-creation kind of thing, or is this something where if we don't answer the question correctly for this collateralized loan obligation, then someone gets sued? And so when you are more bespoke and higher accuracy bar, you generally need to do more tuning. And so that's part of the trend that we're seeing.
Got it. May? Yeah.
I know we weren't supposed to be matched up together on this panel, but it was actually brilliant programming because, I do think like the fun part about competing against like the kind of instant distribution startup, right? If you think about OpenAI and Microsoft, that's the genius of what Sam did is he literally has instant distribution into the enterprise, is you're already going into the A/B test, you're the B. Right? And so it's great because like what the benchmark is that you gotta beat, and we've never not beat it. And like I think the last mile being 90% of the work is so true in enterprise generative AI. And I think our hack or our advantage very quickly, like in addition to everything that's under the hood, is we give folks like WYSIWYG application layer tooling. And so what that means is we get to work backwards from what is the data that we need either in the prompt or in fine-tuning or in RAG to be able to have an interaction with a user that gets them the right answer or the right generation. And so there is, I think, actually a huge advantage to like startups versus the Microsofts right now because you can focus on the last mile of data. You can focus on actually the user interaction. And the big companies right now are in distribution mode and not as focused on delivering the value.
Yeah, I got to start disagreeing with you more. Otherwise, I'm not doing my job to make this a a fun
Give
panel.
us some hot takes.
But I have to agree with that though because it's it's different. It's different market segments, right? You have a big structural push for the OpenAIs and hyperscalers of the world to go towards the kind of out of the box, massive generalist. Be the baseline for every A/B test. Most enterprise value, I think it's a very easy bet to take. It's going to be, especially anything dollar weighted, it's going to be on all the kind of last mile fine-tuned applications. And so, you're going to need different tools for different parts of the job. But I think you're going to see a lot of the enterprise usage of, an OpenAI or any of these other kind of off-the-shelf models, have this natural arc of, okay, this is an amazing first-mile tool. I think a lot of the foundation model advances are amazing. Kind of, they've democratized and they've flattened and they've accelerated the first mile of development. Try to see if this could work, how to specify it, how to get an initial demo. You can do that in natural language now. But then you want to go to production for both accuracy, but also cost and robustness and modularity reasons. You got to start fine-tuning and distilling and hooking up to your data. All that last mile, that's not getting as much attention right now because it's not the flashy demo, it's not the mass market consumer use case, but that's where the value is going to lie, at least in the enterprise. I think that's easy to call. I won't call consumer, but for enterprise. And that's where you have to get more serious about the tooling, right? We support the data development and everything downstream of that, super important. Everything really but the models and the algorithms, honestly. And then you have to be serious also about the hands-on interaction, the enablement, the training, right? Like you were talking to in all the fun travel involved in doing that. So, yeah, I'll disagree with you on the next one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested on the Writer website. I saw one of your guys' core use cases is around marketing, right? And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I guess my understanding is like generating copy, creative, figuring out how to come up with cool campaigns that might work. And I come from a world where we do a lot of marketing on Facebook and Google and social networks and so on. I'm wondering like from your perspective, do you feel like the entire kind of marketing large language model use case is, going to get eaten up by the Facebook and Googles of the world who end up doing a ton of that generation on their side? Or do you see a core use case, on your end or within the company itself of doing that generation and using large language models to figure out, what marketing tools, what taglines, et cetera, that kind of thing work well?
Yeah, I love the marketing use cases because marketers are so creative, and so they make great customers. And the way that marketing is being reinvented right now is awesome. At Commvault, the CMO there built a assistant that basically has all of the sales reps in a chat application where they can literally be like, who do we sell to in EMEA, where we've sold to the CIO in industrials? What stats do we have on uptime? Where do we have case studies on folks who have achieved like this KPI in their cybersecurity program? And those are impossible types of things to answer with just like, search 1.0. And like, how many times have they gone through and asked that in like a Slack instance and it's been crickets, or someone answers it and they never see it again? So I do think marketing is being reinvented.
So it's like internal knowledge around marketing is kind of where you're seeing the progress there?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, okay.
And folks are so creative. At Slack, they built an app in Writer where they'll put in release notes and they automatically get the blog post for the release notes. And we had fine-tuned on all of their release notes and blog posts.
Okay.
So like it's so far beyond, I think, like the capabilities go far beyond the adjacent use cases that get built into other systems of record. And we on purpose focus on making sure that's where folks' minds go creatively, because we're obviously trying to fight to take over the white space, working backwards from generative AI being built into every blank box on the internet.
And I noticed, I guess one follow-up question on this is I noticed you guys let people have their own large language models, on premise, bring them kind of in-house. Like, I'm interested why you think people are going to go through the time and the work to do that when the sort of, the cloud-based models, the big people who are out there do seem to be in the lead, I guess, in terms of at least, I don't know, the day-to-day use case, at least for me as a consumer. But, why do big companies like need their own models? Why do they need their own, on-premise, I guess, large language models or just AI tools in general?
I'm worried this is one we're going to agree on.
Yeah.
Well, so our Palmyra X.
Not helping me here.
Yeah. Lightning round answers for these. Yeah.
Our model, we have 18 models, but our Palmyra X.
18 models. Okay.
Yeah, well, because you have like little baby ones that do things that you don't need the big ones to do. It actually leads GPT 3.5 turbo, and in a lot of fine-tune cases is like with no RAG and no additional tuning is beating GPT-4. So, I don't agree that you got to have these like massive frontier models. But for us, like it was critical to build our own, because for enterprise use cases that are highest impact, people need to be able to use their own data. And if you are L'Oreal and have spent like decades constructing these like highly secure environments, you're not going to suddenly be like, yeah, take our competitive intel into like somebody else's cloud environment. They're not even happy with like a single tenant environment. So it was just absolutely critical that we were able to say, all right, everything that goes into RAG and the LLM itself, you actually have got a couple different flexible deployment options.
Yeah.
Disagree with me.
Well, I'll make a gross and unfair comment about models getting commoditized. How about that?
Yeah,
light tension, but not really disagreement. And you all actually do have unique opinions on model architectures, from what I've been able to dig around online. So that's pretty unique. But most people are using the same model architectures. I think now I'm agreeing again, but like the reason that enterprises, number one, are very gung-ho in their own models is they're realizing their data and their knowledge of how to curate and develop that data and develop the applications. That's the non-commodity asset in the space. Everyone's training the same, maybe not you all, because there's a little bit of there are architectural differences, but most people are training the same model architectures. The same algorithm has been used now. It's sad for us that have studied better variants, but everyone's using the same algorithm, and that's kind of getting flattened. And you think about the development interface to AI these days. It's not like you don't go and say, oh, it's messing up on this customer segment or this type of query to the chatbot or this type of object in the satellite image. I'm going to go back and I'm going to tweak one of the 20 billion parameters and fix it that way, or change the algorithm or the architecture. You go back and you change the data, and you're using your data to do that. So enterprises get more than ever now, and they're inclined to get this, that their data is the valuable thing, and they don't want to just send that over the transom to an API. The second reason is just accuracy, right? So we did a case study that with GCP recently. It was a proxy data set, but representative stuff that we do for different top 10 US banks and FinServ, where we started with Palm 2, I believe. Gets about 50% accuracy on this banking chatbot problem. We did some prompting in our platform, so that's a type of data development, to get to about 69. Then we did some labeling and fine tuning to get to 88. The kicker was the 88 F1 score, 88% accuracy model was 10,000 times smaller. So think about this intuition. This is called distillation. One of my students published a really
We've got to
cool.
do a quick version because we're
Oh,
almost out of time.
sorry.
Yeah,
we're out of time. I'm sorry. Okay.
One sentence
So,
version.
One sentence version is think about general to specialist. Most use cases don't require a massive frontier generalist. They need a specialist that's really good and cheap and stable for a real use case.
All right. So I have one last question, which I'm a denizen of the San Francisco Bay Area, like many people here, and I've driven down 101 many times, and I'm seeing writer billboards like every day now, and I have to ask, like, do the billboards work? I need to know. I've driven by like 10 years worth of enterprise software billboards. Like, can you just give me the straight dope on if the enterprise software billboards are working for you or not? This is a personal question.
They work.
They work. Okay.
But in generative AI, everything fucking works.
Okay,
So like,
okay, all
everything's
right.
working. I can't tell you if
Put
it's working.
AI on a billboard and it works these days. So that's a good takeaway
Who's
for
your
the
billboard
audience.
person?
You guys can talk afterwards. All right. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, May. Thank you, Alex. And thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Silicon Valley. Goodbye. Silicon